The idea that soil is the main source of plant mass is a common misconception that has been disproven by scientific experiments and evidence. For centuries, people believed that plants obtain their mass from the soil, and it wasn't until 1648 that this myth was debunked. But here's an interesting question: where do plants in nature get the necessary building material that forms the basis of food chains on Earth? How do they acquire the bricks to form their biomass, which can sometimes be quite substantial? Unlike animals, they don't feed on ready-made organic matter, but even in that rule, there are exceptions. It is logical to assume that plants draw everything they need for life from the soil through their roots. However, in reality, it's not quite so. To understand where plants get their material for growth, let's turn to the history of science. In the 17th century, Flemish physician and naturalist Jan Baptiste van Helmont conducted an experiment that refuted the myth of soil as the main source of plant mass. Van Helmont took a large oak barrel with a capacity of about 200 liters and filled it with fertile soil. Carefully measuring the mass of the soil, it amounted to about 80 kilograms. Then he planted a small willow weighing only 5 pounds, about 2 kilograms, in the barrel and watered it exclusively with rainwater for 5 years. During this time, the fragile sapling grew into a mighty tree measuring about 5 meters in height and weighing 164 pounds, approximately 74 kilograms. After completing the experiment, Van Helmont carefully measured the mass of the soil in the barrel again. And what happened? It turned out that the mass of the soil had only decreased by a few ounces, approximately 57 grams. So, in 5 years, the mass of the tree had increased by more than 70 kilograms, while the mass of the soil, from which the growth was presumed to occur, remained virtually unchanged. From this, Van Helmont made a revolutionary conclusion for that time: plants do not draw their material for growth from the soil at all. This discovery posed numerous new questions for botanists and led to further research on plant life processes. Van Helmont's experiment was a groundbreaking study that refuted the myth of soil as the main source of plant mass and demonstrated the importance of carbon dioxide for plant growth. This experiment showed that the tree obtains its mass not from the soil, but from the air. Van Helmont's experiment was groundbreaking as it demonstrated for the first time that plants do not derive their mass from the soil. But how much CO2 do plants actually absorb from the air? The answer might surprise you. According to NASA, plants absorb 150 billion metric tons of CO2 from the atmosphere every year. That's roughly equivalent to 20% of the total volume of CO2 emissions produced by humans in the same period. When a plant cannot live in soil, it uses other methods to obtain nutrients. What examples do we know today? There are aquatic plants, also known as hydrophytes, which grow in water or on moist soil. They have adaptations that allow them to survive in these conditions. For example, hydrophytes often have large leaves that allow them to absorb more light, as well as thick stems that help them retain water. Some hydrophytes, like water lilies, have floating leaves that allow them to stay on the water surface. Other hydrophytes, like waterweed, have rhizomes that are anchored in the bottom of the water body. There are also other plants that can exist without soil. Epiphytes are plants that grow on other plants without obtaining nutrients from them. They are often found in tropical forests, where they grow on trees. Epiphytes often have aerial roots that help them absorb moisture from the air. Examples of epiphytes include orchids, bromeliads, ferns, and mosses. Additionally, there are plants capable of living in conditions where soil is absent or inaccessible. These plants are called lithophytes and can grow on rocky surfaces such as cliffs and caves. Examples of lithophytes include saxifrages, sedums, irises, azaleas, and camellias. Depending on their habitat, plants have evolved various ways of obtaining nutrients. This has allowed them to grow in conditions where soil is unavailable or not fertile enough. But what about growing plants in space? There's no soil, water, or rocky surfaces. How does space colonization work? In this regard, several methods come to the rescue, including hydroponics. Plants are grown in a nutrient solution without soil. Aeroponics. Plants are grown in the air, with their roots being constantly misted with a nutrient solution. Both methods involve a solution that provides plants with all the necessary nutrients for growth. This allows plants to absorb the required nutrients without the use of soil. Agroponics, a method of growing plants in microgravity, where plants are grown in mesh containers that are constantly rotating. There are also other innovative approaches being explored, such as bioregenerative life support systems, which aim to create self-sustaining ecosystems in space by incorporating plants that provide food, oxygen, and waste recycling. These advancements in plant cultivation methods not only have implications for space exploration, but also for terrestrial agriculture. Understanding how plants utilize carbon dioxide from the air can help farmers optimize the cultivation of crops, reducing the need for fertilizers and pesticides that can have negative environmental impacts. This can lead to the development of more sustainable and environmentally friendly agricultural practices that promote soil health and biodiversity. We hope that scientists will continue to develop new methods for carbon sequestration and environmental sustainability. For example, plants can be used to remove excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to reduce the amount of greenhouse gases contributing to climate change. This can be achieved through the use of urban forests, green roofs, and other plant-based technologies that capture and store carbon dioxide. So, it turns out that plants primarily create their body mass from air and solar energy. But where do they get the raw materials for this amazing process of converting inorganic matter into organic matter? The secret lies in the fact that plants are producers, organisms capable of independently creating complex organic substances necessary for their growth and development using nothing but carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. This unique process is called photosynthesis. It is a complex process, but imagine a tiny factory inside each plant cell where molecules of carbon dioxide and water combine and recombine to create sugars, fats, proteins, and other organic compounds. It's like a three-dimensional printer, but instead of plastic and metal, the ink consists of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and other elements. It is a self-developing system that constantly uses solar energy to create the raw materials needed for growth. It's like a living, breathing machine that continually builds and rebuilds itself, molecule by molecule. The special kitchen in plant leaves is called chloroplast, and it is where all the magic happens. Chloroplasts resemble tiny factories that use light energy to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. They are like miniature power plants running on sunlight. Plants have perfected the recipe for photosynthesis over millions of years and have achieved great success in this regard. They have developed special structures and tricks that help them absorb as much carbon dioxide from the air as possible and convert it into delicious glucose. It's like they have their own secret ingredient that makes their glucose special. So, the next time you see a plant, remember that it's not just a beautiful green thing, it's a superhero that uses its abilities to create delicious, energy-rich food from the air. Plants are like builders, and carbon dioxide is their favorite building material. They use it to create various useful substances, such as glucose, which is their favorite energy drink. But just as builders need more than just bricks to construct a house, plants also need other nutrients for growth and development, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The air is like a big toolbox for plants. It contains everything they need for construction and growth, and carbon dioxide is the most important tool of all. Without it, plants wouldn't be able to produce what they need for growth and development. It's like trying to build a house without bricks. It just wouldn't work. So, photosynthesis is like a big construction project, and carbon fixation is its most important part. It is this process that allows plants to convert carbon dioxide into the building blocks they need for growth and development. Without it, plants would be without their favorite building material and wouldn't be able to create all the amazing things they need to survive. In short, plants love carbon dioxide because it is their main building material for growth and development. It's like the foundation of their construction project, and without it, they would be lost. That's why CO2 is often used in greenhouses to stimulate plant growth and increase yields. In conclusion, plants are remarkable organisms that primarily derive their mass from the air and solar energy through the process of photosynthesis. They have evolved incredible mechanisms to convert carbon dioxide into organic compounds, fueling their growth and serving as the foundation of food chains on Earth. Understanding how plants utilize carbon dioxide and develop innovative cultivation methods has far-reaching implications for space colonization, agriculture, and environmental sustainability.